So what's the best Tier 8 destroyer for ranked? Let's find out with Ripper.
Hey team, this is Ripper. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Got a fun video talking about what's the best Tier 8 destroyer for rank these days that I've been using. Again, this is just my personal opinion on how I've played it and my play style, but just take a view at it, see what you think. If you like it, great. If you have a better list, let me know. But as always, before we begin, like, subscribe, button below. Appreciate all the supporters of the channel. You see value what we're doing here today, smash this button, let us know. Thanks for stopping by, and we can't thank you enough. All right, first one they're going down the list is, for me personally, oldie but goldie, literally the Akizuki, the Tier 8 Japanese gunboat destroyer. I don't like the torpedo destroyer kind of gameplay. To me, I don't think I can do as much damage, especially with the nature of spotting, maybe some hydro here and there. I don't like using torpedoes as much, especially at the Tier 8 level. It's just not there. It just doesn't feel like I'm packing a wallop, you know, because even with a reload booster in the Akizuki, I only probably pump out maybe like 8 torpedoes, you know, in a few minutes. So I like the actual high DPM, and Akizuki actually has some of the highest DPM for Tier 8 at its level. I'll even throw up a screenshot to show you where it ranks at the DPM, but it is phenomenal because of that reason, because I'm a gunboat DD main. I pump out more damage per minute. I can throw out more hate and send a lot of lead down range. It really does make a not only as an actual factor in the game, but a psychological factor as well. To see this amount of shells coming at you, burning, everything's on fire, it just causes so much problem and chaos. And you're going to see the enemy team really focuses you down. I mean, they love, not only do they just shoot destroyers, but the Akizuki especially, because they know how much firepower it can bring to the table, and it really is a shock and awe kind of mechanism. So, you know, again, at Tier 8, the biggest thing I think really makes a wallop is the IFHE, because most destroyers don't really play with it, but it can at 37 mil pin. So you literally are, correct me if I'm wrong, pinning majority of everything out there at Tier 8, and that is just freaking raw alpha damage, and that is very, very strong and powerful in my personal opinion, because it doesn't necessarily matter where you hit, as long as you're just shooting and you're still starting fires like you see right there. There's one. Like, I don't really care about the fire chance, because I know eventually I hold left mouse button literally the whole time, all the time in this game, and I just know that eventually I'm going to start a fire. I don't care about the fire chance. I'm going to start one. Once I start one, great, it's over. And now he damages cons right there, and I'm still doing raw damage. So I just know that, in my personal opinion, persistence and consistency wins the day over and over again, because most players will, one, either give up, or they're two, just bad aiming with RNG, and they just sit there and not really apply themselves to the game. Now, this Bordino's doing a great job with shooting. He's actually nailing me, so I actually eventually have to pop smoke, but he did a good job for me, as he gave me adrenaline rush, and now he's boosted my gun reload to 2.5 seconds. So that is, you know, bad on my part, but good also, the fact that he's helped me boost my DPM and more firepower on him as well. You know, so we just have the standard smoke. The only thing I don't like about Akizuki is the fact that it doesn't bring too much utility other than smoke. So this is kind of more of a solo kind of gameplay style. I've noticed that in the Akizuki, I'm kind of playing more solo in my own world game. I like to help out my team do something, as you're going to see in the later destroyers. I mean, I don't have a hydro, I don't have a radar, so I'm not providing any information really. Somebody has to spot for me if I'm in smoke. So again, this is more of that YOLO solo kind of going out and blowing up and burning the world down yourself. Excuse me. And you know, that's why I don't like it too much anymore. And I've seen it is a sluggish destroyer. It doesn't maneuver as great as some of these other destroyers we're going to talk about. It doesn't accelerate very efficiently without the engine boost. It doesn't turn. It just feels like a big hunk of truck. But like I said, the reason why it's so heavy and bulky is because it brings so much firepower to the table. So think of it like a juggernaut. Think of it like a mass artillery platform. It just doesn't maneuver as great. It seems heavy, like you're a heavy machine gunner. That's how I kind of feel like it. Akizuki is a heavy machine gunner, where he's big, sluggish, bulky. But man, oh man, when he starts rocking and rolling, you're glad he's there, and he keeps a lot of guys' heads down. So in this particular map, again, you notice that nobody's really pushing, nobody's really moving. That's why I hate, you know, some of the meta today, where it's just so passive. I mean, you got a Nebraska using aircraft in a World of Warship game, and he's just going to stay nosing like that. But that's okay, because it gives me more things to shoot at, and I'll just take advantage of it. So again, as you know, what are we doing? We're just providing so much fire support, and we can just literally sit here, because they're not going to cap Bravo. It's pretty much a stalemate until we actually start pushing and burning down ships at Charlie, and eventually slowly roll in. We kill our first blood, first kill right there. That's exactly what Akizuki does. It literally just sits and melts everything in sight. and just causes so much mayhem that it's just not healthy for the enemy team. So we're going to keep doing what works, right? I mean, it doesn't seem glamorous or anything, but what works. So look at all the IFHE right here working on the Nebraska American battleships. It loves to eat it alive. So guess what? Just rain of pain, and last shell kills him right there. Splash 2, 69,000 damage. Now, this is exactly what all we can do right now. Just cap and reverse, and we're going to hold. So this is kind of boring right here. It'll kind of speed it up. We don't really do much other than burn down battleships. Because of our ability to nuke and melt down 2 ships over here, now our battleships have the confidence, and that's your idea of a good gunboat destroyer, is to give your team confidence to lay down enough of suppressive fire to melt down things that all of a sudden make it less scary. So now all of a sudden these battleships with, I thought were just designed to tank, are actually going to move in and press in now. Even cruisers are trying to slowly press in. I mean, this one, Hipper, is terrified of the kid, is going to like nuke him or torpedo him or something. But with a Akizuki constantly firing, I guess it gives them a little bit more confidence to go like, oh, I've got a fire-breathing dragon on my team. I'm okay. So we're going to keep melting down this Odin. Again, in nature at Tier 8, you're going to find majority. Look at this Hipper. Look at the enemy Hipper right here. Look at that right there. He's so terrified he's hiding behind an island. Well, that makes great gameplay, right? I know he's probably being spotted by Benson, but he should know the bulk of the team is at Charlie. Odin is also running away, not being really productive either. Again, state of World of Warships just the way it is, because look at the amount of hate you're bringing down Akizuki. This is what Akizuki does. It's literally a demoralizer. And that's why I like it so much. It's so fun. The only downside, again, is the fact, and actually not only, I think there's a few downsides we talked about already, which is the maneuverability, but like I said, the biggest thing also is the fact that you have no utility. You don't bring hydro, you don't be, like if this kid smokes up, I really can't spot him. I can't really do anything to help my team. I'm just there to provide fire support and rely on other people. And the other downside of a DD gunboat main I like is the fact that it doesn't have heals. You're going to see in a bit, we're going to have a couple destroyers that have heals in them, which I would rank them just below Akizuki, but on par of the fact that they have those heals. But again, I still would take an Akizuki all day with the amount of firepower. Look at what we're dishing out right there. Just dishing out so much hate. And there's Splash 3. Doing 3 ship kills. Look, I've literally killed all the ships so far on my team. I don't know what my team is doing, but that's what the Akizuki, again, brings. It's so much firepower, so much fun. Finally, we get another team kill there. And you can see right now, what else is this Benson supposed to do? He's pretty much given up. And now we can shoot very accurate, very good shells. A lot of just firepower. We're going down range. And you see my team doesn't really know how to aim. It takes them forever to shoot. That's why having more firepower going down range is great, because it makes up for the lack of people being able to aim. Finally, somebody hits something. And now we pretty much sealed they don't win the game right there. So that's Akizuki in a nutshell. What do you think? We'll take a look at another destroyer in a bit here. But, man, Akizuki, one of my top favorite destroyers at Tier 8. It just doesn't have a heal and is not maneuverable, no utility. That's my downside with it. But, again, it doesn't stop you from having fun, being able to shoot down a lot of shells down range and just blasting people to oblivion and melting them down, especially with the IFHE. I don't know too many destroyers at Tier 8 that can literally melt 37 millimeters of armor, and that is a powerful asset in itself. There's the win right there. Let's see how we did. Final stats in the game. Let's see here. Yep, top of the team there. And, yeah, we did a lot of damage right there. Doing all these damage, killing 3 ships right off the bat, and they just couldn't push. So, very, very powerful Akizuki, ladies and gents. Let's take a look at the next destroyer. All right, so the next destroyer on the list that I think, and I've seen a lot of people play, is the Tier 8 HMS Cossack. Yes, the British destroyer. Now, I love the British destroyer line. I think they're powerful. I think they're really amazing for what they're able to do. And they bring everything to the table that you would love to have in a destroyer, in my personal opinion. Again, just my opinion. So it ranks kind of like in the mid-tier of the Tier 8 usability and DPM. Obviously, Akizuki, I put the stats up earlier, has I rank them kind of based on the highest DPM. So I just look at DPM. That's all that's really mathematically stable. So I kind of go, well, Cossack is in the middle of that. Akizuki had the highest DPM at Tier 8. But for playability, I see a lot of people playing Akizuki way more than Cossack, which I'm surprised, because I see Cossack a lot in the game, especially at the ranked and competitive levels. And and the difference is it's in the armory, though. It's a premium destroyer, so you do have to put out some kind of resource or something to get it, as opposed to Akizuki. You can just kind of grind the game and play it and kind of rank up and get it that way. Again, my personal opinion, I personally would like a Cossack over an Akizuki nowadays because I find that a Cossack versus Akizuki, man, it's difficult sometimes to go against a Cossack because of the reason of the quick smokes is the biggest selling point, right, for me, because you got more of them and you can use them at will and they just kind of make you disappear, go away, and then you live to fight another day. Again, it doesn't have the heals that I would love to have in a gunboat DD main like the Akizuki does. It has the engine boost, the standard. Hydro is a very crucial must to spot torpedoes and maybe even rush smoke if you're close enough. Torpedoes are great 10-kilometer range torpedoes with a better reload. And the other really thing is got 4 sets of guns. Yeah, so 4 sets of guns, so matching the Akizuki, but not the DPM level. As you notice, the reload is a lot low or higher here than the Akizuki's 2.5 seconds, but we have 4.3. Now, I wonder why that is, because I wonder if they had buffed the Cossack to have the similar reload to Akizuki, would that make it overpowered? In my personal opinion, yes. These guns are amazing. Very, very horrendously powerful because why? They start a lot of fires and they have a great damage. I mean, 1,700 damage per gun, and you're looking at it. Look at how many there are. There's literally 4 turrets of double barrel. I mean, you got 8 guns literally firing, and not many destroyers at Tier 8 have that. And to be able to have that amount of firepower at your disposal, with the addition to the quick smokes, torpedoes, the hydro, the engine boost, it really is a utility ship. It's kind of like, again, that similar playstyle to the Daring, to the Lightning, I would say. What is it, Lightning in Tier 9? No, there's another one. Tier 9. Now, Lightning over there is a Tier 8 on the opposite team, so there's another one. I can't think of it right off the top of my head right now at Tier 9, but the Tier 10, my favorite destroyer is the Daring. This plays similar to that gameplay style with the quick smokes, the gun power, and that's why I like it so much, and it's got the concealment. Okay, that's another thing I forgot to mention. The concealment is a must. Okay, especially at Tier 8 because you outspot majority of everything. Here come the gun action right there, and boom, we kill him right there. That's the bread and butter of Cossack right there, being able to shoot that much firepower. Now we're going to work our way. Now you're going to enjoy a bunch of HE spamming right here, so I'll minimize so you can see while I'm talking. But the HMS Cossack really is the epitome of gunpowder too at this Tier 8 and Tier line because the fact that you can be able to have the concealment to outspot majority of things and then you get first look, first shot, first kill really makes a difference. There's a first fire of mini right here. And that is another selling point. As you can see, as my mini-map I have over here, that the Orkan had a 5.9 concealment, Lightning had a 5.5, while we're rocking and rolling a 5.5 as well. So that is a very, very powerful, I would say, ability to have because you outspot a majority of everything out there. I think Akizuki's concealment was out to 6.1 or 2-ish, something like that. So you're going to outspot everything right off the bat and get that first look, first kill, first surprise kind of shot. And that's what really sells the Cossack to me, and I think a lot of players play it for that reason, is because you have that ability to have concealment with firepower. Normally, those destroyers you see that have the best concealment, like Shimakaze or maybe a Kagero or something, some kind of torpedo destroyer, is rocketing the concealment but not the firepower. So to have the firepower, to have the concealment is pretty amazing, and I think that's why a lot of players play Cossack for that reason, because then you can go in and cap, you can go in a spot, use stealth to your advantage, and it's a very, very powerful asset to have in that regard. But yeah, it's a close call with Akizuki with the amount of firepower. Would you rather have firepower or concealment? Quite honestly, like I said, Cossack kind of supplements both of those. And you're going to see, I'm going to take on 2 battleships here on the western, literally drawing them away from the main bulk of the force, as you can see in the mini-map. The majority of, obviously, an arms race, obviously this is a little, non-standard, but in arms race, majority of the map will be at the center where the final point starts. A lot of the power-ups are there in the center, so it kind of promotes you to go back towards the middle. So again, I'm drawing them away from it. So these battleships love just chasing these destroyers, and now they're firing at me like crazy. The amount of firepower shot at me is pretty horrendous and ridiculous, but that's good because the maneuverability and the acceleration of the Cossack allows me to do that. Notice the acceleration there, getting up to 33 knots so fast, being able to also shimmy, shake, and move. And that's why I like the British destroyer line a lot, for that maneuverability, to be able to turn and juke and dodge shells. It's pretty comfortable in my personal opinion, and I think it's a great starter destroyer as well. I know it's a premium, and you do have to put a little resources out there to get it. But I think it's worth it for a starter destroyer. That's why I say the Daring, the Gearing are great starter destroyers for maneuverability. Splash 2 right there, 56,000 damage. And now we're going to work on the Imperanga. Now look at the concealment, 5.5 now. I can literally drive right up to the Imperanga here and just torp to my heart's content. Now, again, 10-kilometer torpedoes, not the greatest, but when you get in closer, 10 kilometers, not bad for the reload that you're getting and the damage. So you can see I'm just chasing them down right here. Look, nobody's in the middle there. We drew all the battleships out, making them almost irrelevant. And yeah, it's torpedo range. I mean, he's kiting away, so I mean, he's running away from my torpedoes, so they're not going to connect too much. Again, I think this is kind of boring gameplay, torpedoing a battleship from distance. You get 2. Look at that. Look at that damage right there. And now that he's flooding, now we go back to the guns, the bread and butter. He's going to have to slow roll turn his ship towards me. You know, and I'm comfortable going nose in, just using the front 2 turrets, so that feels comfortable too. He takes a full salvage shot at us and bupkis. So now look, guess what? We get the quick smoke, so we can go undetected immediately. He has a 20-second cool smoke down fire penalty, so we get 20 seconds of free farming right here. And look, there's another problem right there. This thing starts fires like crazy. 2 fires at tier 8 with these guns right here. And now I'm just going to literally work my way and work it off. And what can the battleship do? There's literally nothing he can do right now. The Almonte Pier is probably going to... I think he's going to spot for me right here. He radars... Yeah, he has a radar. My gosh, I didn't know that. It doesn't matter. This guy's going to burn to death. Yep, damn, he's burned to death anyways. Great radar, though. And now we just win the game. I mean, that's the power of Cossack and Ray. I mean, it can do everything. I'm telling you, it's just literally there as a utility pickup truck kind of a ship. And pretty darn phenomenal. And we literally just walk around the map, and you can cap everything. So we'll cap the center here. We'll go around and cap this. Our speed's great. Go back and win the game this way. Come down and cap. And pretty much just win the game. Again, that's why I like Cossack for ranked. It is a powerful power destroyer. I see a lot of players use it too for the reasons I've given. So let me know your thoughts about it, and we'll move on to the next destroyer in the lineup. For my personal opinion, the top. Again, overall for TLDR, if I had to choose a destroyer out of all the ones I picked today, I would pick this destroyer right here, Cossack, over everything for the utility, the ability, the maneuverability, and survivability. A lot of abilities there. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know your thoughts, and let's move on to the next destroyer. All right, here's the next one. Yes, the Tier 8 Orkan, a European, and this is arms race, so not too... It's arms are starting to become standard now, it seems like, in the random max, the map mix-up and rank, so not necessarily reflective of what the true ship is, but can make it fun. Anyways, the Tier 8 Orkan European destroyer, this would be, in my personal opinion, considered to be like the small end of Tier 8, if you've seen my videos on small end. The only thing I don't see that I would like about it is the fact that the reload rate is so horrendously long. 4.5 seconds? Dude, give me the 2.5 second reload, right? But again, it would be overpowered at that point, right? Now you'd be like, oh, this is a small one now. And essentially, yes, it would. But the cool thing about this is it has 3 turrets, double barrel. Now, the back turret is a 360 turret, which I do like. That's a great add-in addition there. The speed maneuverability is on par. Survivability, look at 19,450. It's okay, but what it makes up for because it has a heal and a radar. That alone right there, I think, is like Smallen-esque kind of gameplay. 24-second radar at Tier 8. Heals, 3 of them. Engine boost, of course, and we have the torpedoes that go out to 12 with a 70-second reload. I'm sorry, reload rate. But the 4.5 seconds is what gets me. And I noticed that, again, at Tier 8, it's just not as great for that reason. 5.9 concealment's awesome, but, man, if it had the reload rate, I would probably pick this over the Cossack. But the fact that Cossack has the 4 turrets and has the amount of firepower and dishes out in the quick smokes to go unconcealed, I think that was a selling point for the Cossack. Now, second runner-up, I would pick the Orkan over everything after the Cossack, because it brings that utility of it, because it can do the engine boost with the radars, torpedoes, and it's got the gunpowder to hunt down destroyers. Look at the turrets there. Front turrets are also 360. I mean, it is a very close runner-up, second place for the Tier 1 spot. But again, I think because the Cossack is there, this is a premium, of course. Both the Cossack and Orkan are premiums. That's the one downside. Akizuki, again, it's easy for the first players there to just joining to play a tech tree ship. But, man, the Orkan, it can still get melted down. I'm telling you, the Orkan can get melted down by an Akizuki easily. But the utility of the Orkan, being able to move around, 360 turrets with radar, it's cool. But the problem also is you can't use radar in an aggressive way, because let's say you do run in and hunt down a destroyer. You are now subjecting yourself without any smokes or any other support from that incoming gunfire, and it doesn't tank very well. As you can see, most destroyers nowadays are not very good tankers. I mean, most destroyers are not at all supposed to be tanking, except for like a Khabarovsk, But I digress. Look at the torpedo. We got torpedo utility here. We have gunpowder. We have the radar if we need to spot a destroyer like this Benson right here. Now, notice Watch me how I aggressively attack the Benson here, and you're going to see the gameplay style of what it looks like. So let's say we want to hunt down a destroyer. Notice that my team is still supporting me. However, as soon as you fire, you're now lit. Everybody sees you. It's like, holy crap, there's an Orkan. Get him out of here. And look at the gunpowder. The reload I don't like. The loftiness of the shells. It's sometimes difficult to aim. They hit just like, any other standard, European destroyer turrets. Not like the Cossack. It feels like I'm dishing out way more firepower and hate. That's why it feels more comfortable, in my personal opinion, to have 4 turrets rather than these 3. So again, Cossack takes a cake in that regard. But the Orkan excels greatly for the ability, what it's supposed to do, which is spot, hunt down destroyers, keep them at bay, and you can heal back what you just screwed up. Like, I literally made a mistake right there because there's the Brandenburg here. There's the Kansas shooting at me. Now Benson's shooting at me from smoke, and I got to run away. And you can maneuver here and there, shimmy, shimmy, shake, shake, but European destroyers are really not known for its maneuverability. The British destroyer line is. So again, for a great starter destroyer, I like the Cossack better. It forgives you a lot better. And the Orkan, I think it requires a little bit more, I would say, practice, a little bit more experience and skill to really maximize the capabilities of this thing. So again, that's why I don't rank it higher than Cossack. I still like the ability of the Cossack more over this. Because like right now, if I wanted a open water gunboat, I could, but then I'm subjecting myself to fire. My heals on cooldown. I don't have too much to play with. Anyways, you need to save your HP in the long run to survive, to go around capping and taking things and surviving, so your ships are slowly dying, so you got to be the one to survive. So let's see. Here's some of the open water gunboat action. See what it can do against a Brandenburg. Yeah, the damage is there, but 3 guns. Yeah, again, I feel like the Cossack does a little bit more. It does rank better in the stats. Let's see how I'll put up a picture showing where Orkan ranks in the statistical hierarchy of HE DPM and firepower and so forth. I don't see too many Orkans out there, really. Maybe when they do clan battles of Tier VIII, I'll see onesie twosies here and there. For ranked, I still see Cossack and Akizuki way more. So yeah, that's why I don't see Orkan being there, even though it provides a great one kind of utility, which is too specific in my personal opinion, more hunting down destroyers. Because what else is good for the radar? The radar is really just good for the 7.5 kilometer destroyer engagement zone. So again, your thoughts. What do you think? It's more of that hunter-killer destroyer, really, and I want a destroyer that can also shoot down a lot of battleships and do more of that HE spamming, so forth, while obviously hunting down destroyer. And I think Cossack still takes the cake in that regard. Akizuki, too slow, my personal opinion, to try to chase down any destroyers, nor does it have the utility to do anything in that regard either. It just has guns. This one has the radar gimmick. Yeah, it's cool. But, I mean, look at what we're doing here. If this was one-on-one, how would I have survived against the Billy Swanka here, 44? Yeah, the guns, I mean, they're there, but look at how much damage he can deal back at me. Again, I have had to use all my heals just to survive right here. Ooh, look at that. I took a massive shot from him, and that hurts a lot. Look at that. So it's very difficult to tank damage in this thing. Again, you just need to have the smoke at Tier VIII, I personally think, to do any kind of significant damage. Look at the ranking here and see how I did. Again, I don't really do too much in the Orkan. See, not as high as a rank as I want to be. I don't dish out too much damage. I was just there to maybe throw off some of the destroyers for that regard, but yeah, I don't think it ranks higher than the Cossack and not even Akizuki. So, but it's there. I think it's one of the top ones that I think that are highly competitive. But again, I would choose the Cossack. So let's take a look at my last destroyer that I think that's good for Tier VIII at this time. All right, final roundup of the destroyers at Tier VIII that I really enjoy for rank this season is really the Tier VIII split. And this is kind of that European gunboat from the Gdansk line. And this one is not a premium. You can actually go and grind this thing out and get it right now, and it doesn't require too much money or whatnot, right? So what is the split is literally, if you're new to the channel and you've seen my videos, go look at the Gdansk videos I do. But this thing literally is like the Gdansk line. It is really designed from that, and this is kind of leading up to Gdansk and so forth. And El Cantones was right, but as well. But man, oh man, does this thing bring so much utility that I think is very crucial in World of Warships today at Tier VIII. I wish it had more gun barrels, but it only has 5. So it only has 5 single barrel turrets, which, like I said, it's less than Cossack. Cossack has that double barrel, 8 barrels compared to my 5, even though I have more turrets. I mean, if I had, Haragumo, if this had double barrels on each of these things, man, absolutely. It would be the Haragumo of Tier VIII, but it doesn't. I think they think it's overpowered. The reload rate is great on this thing. 3.2 seconds for 5 barrels. You got torpedoes that go out to 8.5, so I think that's lacking there. At least Cossack goes out to 10. This has a smoke and it has a radar, so now you have a gimmick. You have a smoke radar combo, which is really bad. Now they balanced this by making the radar only last 12 seconds, like the Gdansk line does if you build for it. 12 seconds is enough to get maybe a few salvos off, and that's it. But then you can smoke up and start HE spamming. So you have a lot of utility and maneuverability around this. The maneuverability of the ship is okay, not as great as Cossack. It turns and accelerates okay. It's got a high speed, which is okay to get around the map like Gdansk does. But it doesn't turn and maneuver around particularly like a great Cossack or a Daring or so forth. And but what it does very, very well is literally hunt down, destroy. It can actually not hunt them down, but literally melt them down with the radar. Spot them first and melt them down, smoke up, HE spam, and guard an area. And then you can start doing the open water gunboat action with the engine boost and long-range spamming, and it really excels at that, like the Gdansk and Elkontonis does, and it's strong. Okay, for example, Z-23 right here, spotted. Now he's within radar range. A 9-kilometer radar at Tier 8 is redonkulous. See the single barrel right here? It doesn't do as much as I would like to do. I wish it had more. It doesn't rank high in that DPM category for that reason, but it still can dish out some firepower and hate with the reload, so it kind of makes up and balance for that. And now we're smoking up. Now they don't know where I'm at, and guess what? I can pop the radar, reveal the Z-23 and the other kid right there. Again, I left out the kid because, honestly, I don't know. Kid is that single barrel, 5-barrel kind of destroyer gunboat. I've at least seen a lot of people play it. I used to use Kid a lot for rank. Unfortunately, right now in 2025, I just see that USS Kid kind of power crap. First blood, first kill right there, splash one. Just keep firing, amount of firepower right there. You can see the power split right there with the smoke combo radar. Just horrendously, powerful in that regard. Okay, why did I was talking about the USS Kid is the fact that I used to use it a lot, but right now, it just doesn't have that oomph and firepower that I need in the Kid. The shells are lofty. It's hard to aim sometimes. It has the heal, but it doesn't have, like I said, the firepower that I would like to have in the Kid. It can start a lot of fires if you use it right. A lot of people have used it really great. Watch this. Here, I got to use the engine boost. I've got a damage on the steering rudder. If I didn't have that rudder, I wouldn't have been able to make that dodge right there. Holy crap. I'm telling you, the Split and the Gdansk, they are tough to maneuver, so you got to just be Johnny on the spot with that engine boost to get out of dodge. And here's really what the Split and Elkontonis and the Gdansk really excel at right here is once you get that initial destroyer engagement, boom, you're in smoke, and now you're working the battleships and the cruisers. You're just spamming so much HE and firepower and hate that it is a powerful, powerful combo. The only downside, again, like I said, it doesn't have a heal for the open water gunboat action, and it doesn't have a concealment. The concealment's pretty horrendous, at the Tier 8 level here. But it doesn't stop you from, having a spotter and shooting like crazy. But again, you're relying on the spotting ability. Now, you do have the 9-kilometer radar, which can help out for a little short while, but you can't rely too much on it. So, again, you're relying on your team to do a lot of the spotting. And then, that's why I think concealment comes into a factor, that you can go in and with the better concealment, you can spot, go undetected, stay undetected, and then cap the spots that your team needs, like the Benson's doing right now. I don't really play Benson too much. I don't think it's a very good utility kind of destroyer. It really is its purpose is really kind of that American destroyer, torpedo destroyer kind of mentality. Go in, undetected, cap. You can smoke up other guys if needed, and, like I said, torpedo. But again, I don't see many Bensons really going out there doing what I'm doing, which is really rocking Vladivostoks and Amagis, where I'm literally drawing majority of the gunfire. San Diego out there, look at the sap coming in right now. That's San Diego firing at me. I mean, he only wants to shoot at me rather than anybody else. And, of course, I'm going to be the one open water gunboating all the time because I'm going to tank all the damage. And look at that. I'm now trying to burn down this Vladivostok here. Let's see if I can get him. We start a lot of fires, too. Like, Gdansk starts a lot of fires. Split does the same thing. He goes down. Now we switch targets and work on Amagi. Yes, oh, yes. It is very deadly, this thing. I mean, I'm telling you. Look, they're still firing at me right now. Amagi, 60, it was like almost full health there. Now watch this. We'll start fires galore. The range on this thing is great. 13.6 for the recommended build of the Split. I'll have all the builds at the end of the video, by the way. And again, the Alabama's running away. We literally scared off the Alabama with the amount of firepower, kind of similar to Akizuki style gameplay where you're just using suppressive fire to run everybody down. Amagi fired at us, did he? I saw shells coming in at us. That's crazy. And again, this is all we're doing. I mean, just non-stop firing. I have a smoke in my hip pocket if I need to go undetected and mitigate damage. We have a lot of health to work with at Tier 8 here. Again, I got the 9-kilometer radar if I needed to spot the kid. I have no idea where he's at. Again, that's why I don't like the kid, because, I mean, all he can really do is go around and try to cap places, maybe throw one torpedo. The reason why that is another bad thing is the kid doesn't have enough torpedoes, in my personal opinion. It only has one launcher. I mean, I wish if you're going to play the torpedo boat, at least have 2 launchers, right? I think the Benson has 2 launchers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't play Benson much, so I don't know. That's why I don't want to talk about ships that I don't play too much. I just know the reason why I don't play is because there's just no umph in the Benson, in my personal opinion. Some of you guys may play the Benson pretty well. I mean, go for it. But this is all Benson does, is really smoke up and kind of sit in the cap while I'm here doing a lot of the pain train here. Let's see if I can take out the Amagi with just a couple of shells. Can I get him? Oh, no, I don't. It's okay. I've literally just been reversing the whole time here in the cap. And this is Tier 8. I mean, again, this is the meta of today. You really are just seeing so many guys, Alabama running to the back of the map and San Diego the same way. And, I mean, that's the meta. I get it. But some people enjoy this. That's fine. I mean, that's why it's still in the game. If you like competitive, it's still available on the map. I just don't like them playing carriers or subs in competitive. I think it should continue leaving that out of the game. Now, they allow submarines at Tier 8, so that's a downside. Fortunately, not too many players play submarines at Tier 8. Or in rank, that is. I'm sorry. And he goes down. The kid goes down. Yeah, there's not really, like I said, not much the kid could have done. He's stuck in the smoke and he's perma-spotted. He doesn't have radar, doesn't have hydro. Really no support, really, anyways, and you can't really fight your way out of it. He does have heals, but again, it's not enough to really kind of get you out of a jam. So I'm looking for a destroyer that can dish out damage and hate while maintaining survivability, that being whether it's the smoke or the maneuverability or the speed. So Cossack really takes the cake in that regard, where it has a great acceleration, maneuverability, quick smokes to get out of dodge. It's still got the firepower if it needs to. It can take on battleships. It's got torpedoes if you want to take on battleships. Torpedoes that reload very well. And again, you got the quick smokes like we talked about, and hydro. So you can spot incoming torpedoes or even rush a smoke at close ranges. So like I said, I think the Cossack really takes the cake for me right there, and just survives a lot better, and it just handles more comfortably for beginners or even advanced. The other ones require a little bit more dancing and a little more experience. But there it is, Splash 2, 79,000 damage. We are just a gunboat fire-breathing hate. And now we're pretty much going to win the game right there. So I've really found a lot of success in these destroyers I mentioned. Again, I like Cossack over all of them. Let me know what you guys think. What are your favorites? What do you think is good? What do you play a lot more? What do you see a lot more out there? I'm just going off of what I've played, my play style, statistics on the WoW stats. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments below. Smash those like buttons if you see value what we're doing here today. We can't thank you enough for stopping by. Bill will be at the end of the videos as always. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, if you see me out there, make sure you say hello, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Cheers.